Hi everybody, this is Josh Culp. We are learning Daf Shvui, Masechet Gittin. We are on Daf Yod Aleph, and there's some interesting phenomena that occur on this daf with regard to the interactions between Jews and Gentiles during the Talmudic period, which I think is a subject that often interests us. We want to know, did Jews live separate lives? How much did they interact with the Persians that were around them? How antagonistic were they towards the outsiders, and they were outsiders to them? Those are historical questions that are usually of great interest to people. As you probably know, I'm a little bit hesitant to learn too much history from the Talmud. The Talmud is a literary text written by a small group of people. But nevertheless, po v'sham, here and there, I think you can gain a little bit of historical evidence from the Talmud. So the first part is the statement by Rava, Hai shtara parsa de masra nihari ba'ape sada Yisrael magbinan be mibnei chare. This Persian document that they transmitted in front of witnesses, Jewish witnesses, you can use it to collect from unencumbered property, which means two things. First of all, Rava is allowing Persian documents, which must mean, despite the fact that the Gemara asked the question, people don't know how to read them. My guess is that probably people did know how to read them. I think that probably the Gemara has an assumption that Rava might not have shared. But two, they have a lower status, meaning for some reason you can't use them to collect from encumbered property that has a lien on it. Perhaps this is Rava's way of discouraging Jews from using Persian documents and preferring them to use Aramaic or perhaps Hebrew documents. Of course, throughout the rest of Jewish history, Jews often, in their interactions with non-Jews, used documents that the non-Jews would understand, probably through most of Jewish history, because if you're interacting with another people, you have to use a document that everybody understands, and is very rare, almost never, that non-Jews understood Jewish languages, but Jews understanding non-Jewish languages was the norm. The second part I think is a little bit interesting is in the issue of the names, which is something we've touched about before, that we get the question that Reish Lakish asks Rabbi Yochanan, witness who signed and their names are like non-Jews, meaning they have non-Jewish names. Are these valid? Which brings us slightly to the issue of what are the essential witnesses to the divorce process, those signed on the get or those who witness its transmission, which I don't want to get back into because we've talked about that many times. But the very fact that they have to deal this question means that there are Jews who have non-Jewish names. And especially interesting is the Breitzer that appears afterwards, that divorce documents that come from abroad and witnesses are signed on it, even though their signatures are like the names of non-Jews, they're valid because most Jews outside of the land of Israel have non-Jewish names, which is also a phenomenon that was largely true for most of Jewish history. Jews often had two names. Probably a lot of you listen to this video grew up with a Jewish name and a non-Jewish name. And it's a common phenomenon throughout all Jewish history. And I think it's interesting to see that it's already there, perhaps already in the Talmudic period, perhaps already in the Second Temple period. We often have Jews who have both Greek names, such as Jason, and Jewish names, such as Yehoshua. So that phenomenon reaches very deep into Jewish history. It's part of who we are as a people. We've almost always been in cultures involved with other peoples. We've lived most of our history in the diaspora. And as such, we've often developed a system where we have two names. One is a Jewish name and one is a non-Jewish name.